Hey, welcome back to the channel, everybody. So it is Saturday, May 13th, right at 10:20 in the morning. Temperature is 76 degrees, humidity is 49%, and I am out here for actually my first inspection of May. So I would have inspected the hives last week, however, I postponed that due to a photo shoot. So if you haven't checked out that video, please do so. And full disclosure, I've actually been out here in the yard for a little bit because I was just finishing up my video on swarm number 10, which is now down in the number 1 spot, and as you can see, in some 10 frame equipment. So if you haven't watched that video, which is the one right before this, please check that out. You'll see the full series from the swarm moving into the box, or shortly after noticing a swarm moved into the box, to transferring them into a double 5-frame nuke setup, letting them sit in the bee yard, moving them over into the bee yard actually, and then moving them into some equipment just now. So that's pretty much it. Quick introduction, weekly inspection. I'm gonna get into all the hives. I can't remember too much because it's been about 2 weeks, but nonetheless, I'm gonna check them all out. I am very curious to see just how, it's the hive in the 3rd position now, just how they're doing, mainly because the bottom medium box is pretty darn full, and this is the hive that I used for the photo shoot, and that top box had some nice weight to it also, but I did not take a look at that top box last week, and that box has been on now for 2 full weeks. So really curious to see how much more nectar and or honey they've packed away for me. Check in on swarm number 9. That's the one from Southwest Elementary School. Basically see how many more frames they've drawn out. Again, last time I looked at them, they had about 2 of the 5 frames drawn out, so no big deal. Get into the rest of them as usual. And this was a split. I do remember this much. This was a split that I made from what is now the hive in the 2nd position down there. Found a whole bunch of queen cells, found the parent queen, moved her down here. They've been in this single 5-frame nuke for better part of 2 or 3 weeks. And considering how many bees are on the entrance, I'm very curious to see if they need more space, which is most likely, which is also why I have the double 5-frame nuke set up. So get them transferred over, give them 5 more frames to work, and then eventually move them down into some 5-frame equipment. So that's it for now. All right, down here at the hive in the 2nd position, I honestly don't really recall the full backstory right now, whether they were a split, I'm sorry, not a split, but a swarm I call it. But I do remember this much. 2+ weeks ago, 2 to 3 weeks ago, got into them, routine inspection, found quite a few swarm cells, or supersedral cells, queen cells nonetheless. Ended up finding the parent queen, made a split from them, and it's been long enough to where I really am hoping they've rebounded and have become queen right. So that is my main focus with this one. They are drawing out a ton of nice wax and maybe storing some honey. So I'm just gonna go frame by frame. And again, I am really hoping they are queen right at this point. Check out this 3rd frame. I mean, this has some weight to it, but holy smokes. Whether they are queen right or not right now, that is to be determined. But this is a fat frame. Beautiful honey stores. It'd be a different story if I knew they were queen right and that was a honey super, but that's just the 3rd frame in this box. I'm on the very next frame, frame number 4. This side right here, which is the side that faces the interior of the hive, a lot of open cells, but I saw something that I was hoping to see. Yep, yeah, they're queen right. Nice larva, eggs, really beautiful, healthy looking larva too, sitting in a a pool of royal jelly. All right, wet cells is what I think some folks call it. Wet cells is what you want to see. And then just to give you an idea what I was working with here, I marked the top bars that have the locations of the queen cells. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So maybe 6. Maybe they had 6 queen cells, which is why I was comfortable making a split, especially after finding the parent queen. But again, I'm just going to go through the rest of the frames, see if I can find her, get her marked, do all the usual stuff. So where is she at? She was just on this frame, or this side of the frame too. There she is. Yeah, I think she's yeah, right there. Should be right in the center. Pretty looking queen. Alright, let me get her caged. For safety purposes, get her marked. That's why I couldn't find her. She was making use of that space down there. Oh yeah, she knows I'm here now. She's fast too. All right, but not fast enough. Yeah, so far so good. That's exactly what I wanted to see. Takes them about a month maybe to rebound, which is really not a big deal. But let me, actually, since the camera's rolling, let's take a look at this frame. Good Lord. Check that out. I mean, look how they're building that out. That is beautiful. Again, made a split from this hive a few weeks ago, maybe 3 to 4 weeks ago, due to finding several queen cells and the parent queen. Trying to get this queen down into the marking tool. Okay, this is not working out. There we go. All right, well that was a deja vu of a inspection maybe about mid-April, and I had a queen I was trying to cage and she flew off. So I don't remember if I've actually found her since. That was one of the hives at the very end of the yard here. Now let's focus on this first. I'm in the second position. Ah, crap. Doing this with gloves just sometimes just doesn't really work well. All right, there we go. Way better without gloves. Just trying to get her moved around. Come on. Sometimes this takes a while. There we go. And all right, there we go. Let her dry off for about a minute, get her released, and that's it. Slide the cover over, and let's get her out of here so she can get back to work. Come on. This is another key point to have some patience, because you don't want to take the marking tool and turn it into a guillotine. I think some folks would consider that all bad. Right, there she is, and there she goes. All right, that's that. Hive in the second position, marked queen, all good things. All right, down here at the hive in the third position now This is definitely what I would consider the strongest hive that I have. Not the only hive with 2 mediums, but the only hive with 2 mediums serving as honey supers. So like I said in the introduction, I used this box, this colony last week for a photo shoot, which was a really fun time. I did not get into the top box at all because I knew I just added them the week prior. The bottom box has some very nice weight to it. I mean, the top box did too. I just didn't really take a close look. But check this out. This box has been on for 2 weeks. I'm very curious to pull just a few frames out of the center and see how much progress they've made. I mean, I can already tell, but I'm very curious to see just how much of the frames are capped to where it's looking like they would be ready to harvest probably by the end of June is what I'm hoping. All right, so I'm really curious just to see how maybe the center frames are looking. Not really trying to disturb them too much. Again, this is a honey box, so that's all I'm checking on. Beautiful, huh? Let's take a look at the next frame real quick, just because I can see a little bit. Oh yeah, they are. This colony is working. It's beautiful. It's exactly what you want to see. So no need to really disturb them too much. So I'm gonna get them, or this box, put back together, set aside. Like I said, I was in this colony last week. Good Lord. That box has some weight to it. So this is the original medium super that's been on since early April. First week of April, early April. So again, I'm just gonna pull the center frame. Let's do a quick check. But yeah, they are also working this box just as hard. We'll do the same thing, just pull the next frame. Yeah, looking good. That's awesome. I wish every colony was like this, but for anybody that's kept bees for a few years, you know that they all have their strengths and weaknesses and personalities. Some are just a lot stronger than others, which is fine. It's a numbers game, I think. The more colonies you have, the greater your chances are to have a decent honey harvest. This box is heavy too. So, even though I was in this colony last week, like I've said a few times for the photo shoot, I'm just gonna get down into them, conduct a quick inspection. Any queen cells I come across for whatever reason, as long as I find the parent queen, I'll call them or tear them down just to really try to prevent them from swarming, because obviously, as you can tell, this is a colony you would not want to swarm. So I'll show you anything interesting I come across, but otherwise, just gonna go frame by frame for a routine inspection. Share a different angle with y'all. So, second frame. Nice brood, as you can see. Very nice brood. Some drone cells at the bottom. Not many, just a few. which is a good thing. It's always good to have drones. Got brood and food on this frame. Alright, just wanted to share a different perspective with y'all. Show a few frames. Again, I'm just going to go through each one. Anything abnormal, figure out what to do, as long as I can find the queen. That's the key. And that'll be it. Alright, last two frames. Nice brood throughout since the last frame I showed you. A lot more eggs and uncapped brood on this side of the colony, which makes me believe this is the side the queen is favoring or moving towards, mainly because the rest of the frames have capped brood and it's kind of running out of some space. I haven't found her yet, but the previous frame had quite a few eggs, so it appears that they are still queen right. And due to the amount of bees in this colony, she was actually pretty hard to find last week, but I did find her, so I knew she was here a week ago. Again, plenty of signs that they were still queen right. It's just nice to find her, but also not the end of the world if I don't, because even if I, oh, there she is right there. Can you see her? Right there in the middle with a nice red dot. I was gonna say, even if I don't find her, it's not a big deal because I also have not found any queen cells. So let me get them put back together and that'll be it for this colony. All right, there you have it, folks. This is by far, like I said earlier, the strongest colony that I have. They are doing absolutely fantastic. Queen right, no concerns that they're running out of space. She is making great use of the space she has. The bees are making great use of the boxes they have, and both of these are equally as heavy. Which is a good problem to have, especially if you're trying to have a nice honey harvest. All right, that's it for this colony. I haven't done this in a while, so while it's on my mind, let's take a look at the front entrance post inspection. And yeah, that is a very typical site for just finishing up an inspection. All right, that's all for this one. Again, hive in the third position, strongest one I have. 2 true honey supers on that looks like I'll get a very nice harvest from, probably in another month or so. All right, on to the next one. All right, I actually had this thought as I was moving on to the next colony from the hive in the third position with the 2 honey supers. This colony is so strong and they are doing so well this season. I am actually going to give them another honey super this week, and I just wanted to show y'all this super. No trickery, all brand new frames, so none of these frames have drawn wax, so they're not getting a jump start at all. And I'm very curious to see how much progress they're able to make between now, mid-May, and say maybe the end of June to mid-July. I think they will actually be able to fill this box as well with that time frame. And this will also be a first for me. I've never had a colony strong enough to give them 3 honey supers. So here we go. All right, middle of May, 3 honey supers on hive number 3. Let's see what they can do. All right, moving on to the next one. This is the colony down in the 4th position. Swarm number 9 that I caught down at Southwest Elementary School maybe about 2 weeks ago. Let's see what they're up to. All right, maybe they will need more space this week. So again, caught them maybe in the last week or so. Can't really remember. Not a big deal either, but that is a nice sign. Looks like they are drawing out some comb, which is what you want to see. Here, do a quick look. So they had one frame, which was really this one, that had just a little bit of drawn comb and nectar that I pulled out of another hive. The bees flocked right to it. This is the swarm that was on the ground. If you haven't checked out that video, it's actually a pretty cool one. First swarm call that I've ever received for a swarm that was 100% on the ground. They were just lying there, just right on the ground. Not really, well, this is unfortunate, but I'm gonna have to toss that honey. And I am also gonna start scraping down any weird comb like this, because it's only going to get worse because they're just not really drawing it out that well. Maybe instead of completely scraping it, you can just flatten it down for them. Same thing with the next. Yeah, I might end up scraping a lot of this because it's creating some real funky space between the frames, which I don't think is really going to be the best for them. All right, let me go frame by frame just so this isn't the longest video on a 5-frame colony. All right, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. There is the queen right there. Kind of smaller in size, but not terrible. So let me do the same thing, get her caged for safekeeping. There we go. Get her marked, figure out what I'm going to do with all this funky comb, and that'll be it for this one. All right, here we are again. Seems to be the week of marking queens, so same thing as usual. Try and get her from the cage into the marking tool. There we go. Up, yep, there we go. Again, almost like I know what I'm doing. All right, let's get her turned around. Try and do this without a glove. It seemed to be a little easier to manipulate the plunger. Hopefully y'all can see that. There we go. Yep. Of course she wants to fight me. Okay. Good enough. Let her dry off. Give her a minute. And then get her released. And there she goes. All right, just like that. All right, ended up taking a little bit of a break. It is now close to 1 o'clock, temperature is 83 degrees, humidity is about 45%. Feels pretty nice for now. Then again, I'm still in the shade. So hey, I'm down here at hive number 5. They've had some pretty nice activity over the last few weeks, but this is the hive that I'm very curious to see if they have completely rebounded and are queen right. This is the hive a few weeks ago, maybe about 3 to 4 weeks ago at this point. I was conducting a routine hive inspection, got into the bottom box, couldn't find the queen, and then found the queen on the bottom board. And I'm starting to think that I probably bumped her with a frame. So either way, that is the backstory to hive number 5. I just want to see that they have they've become queen right since, and the only way to do that is by getting into them and figuring out if they have a queen. So I'm just going to go through the boxes. I'll show you anything interesting like usual. I'm definitely going to be keeping a keen eye for signs that they are queen right in the form of eggs. Larvae would be fantastic. Cap brood at this point would be a reasonable expectation. And then of course, if they have signs that they're queen right, I will try to find her, cage her, and mark her like I have been for almost every single hive, minus hive number 3, which again has 3 honey super boxes on, which is fantastic and a first for me. All right, top box, pretty decent stores. They still have some work to do. Bottom box, as you can see, more bees. Looks like they have more food stores. Again, I'm just gonna go frame by frame. And speaking of the bottom medium box, yeah, so this is the one that had a ton of queen cells. So again, I'm just gonna look for signs of the queen in the form of eggs, larvae. Cap brood would be great. And like I've said in several videos, I really just need to let the camera roll more often than I do. So that is fantastic to see that they have a queen. Let me get her caged. All right, yeah, she's in there. All right, so I'm still gonna go frame by frame because I really haven't had a chance to get into this box in 2 weeks. That's the case for several of the colonies. But yeah, it won't come up on camera just because the comb is so dark, but there is a ton of eggs right there in the center. So let me go through this box, bottom box. If they have any queen cells, I'll probably tear them down now that I know they are queen right. And then like all the hives but one, I think, this week, I'll get her marked and get everything put back together. All right, so I'm gonna do a few quick things. I still have the queen caged. So the bottom box looks okay, very light, and they're really not making much use of it. So I'm actually going to reverse the deep that's on the bottom with the first medium, the medium that was directly above the deep, in an effort for the queen, that since she's laying, to basically move up and start drawing out. Have the bees start doing a better job of drawing out these frames. And then I'm going to use a queen excluder because the top box actually looks pretty good with drawn comb and honey. So I just need to get her marked and then put everything back together. All right, here we go again. This will be the 4th queen I've marked this week. Uh-oh. Yeah, there we go. All right. Here we go again, right? There we go. All right. Good enough. Again, give her a minute or two to dry off. and then we will get her into hive number 5. Busy week marking queens. All right, let's get her released. All right, there she goes. Queen excluder is on, and that's it for number 5. So very curious to see what they can do now that they are queen right. She's laying, and they have a honey box. All right, moving right along down here at number 6. I don't really remember much about this one. They do have a queen excluder on, which means this top box is acting as a honey super. So let's take a look at that first and see how the bees have been doing this year. So far so good, a lot of nice clean wax. And yeah, they're doing a pretty nice job bringing in the nectar, curing it to honey. Take a look at the next frame too. All right, I'm just gonna pull this box, get down into the bottom, conduct a routine inspection, and hopefully this goes fairly quickly so I can make up for some time spent on other colonies. Yeah, nice healthy amount of bees. It's always what you want to see. All right, 4 frames into it. Just wanted to show you this frame, but yeah, check that out. Beautiful, solid frame and brood. Definitely not a queen you'd want to lose. Haven't found her yet. Frame 4. Here's frame 5. A lot of nice larvae that I can see. Capped brood, obviously. A ton of larvae on this side. I'll show you that real quick. You can see that right around the capped brood section. A few frames to go, but looks like they are still doing great. All right, very next frame, there she is, probably in the center of the screen. Still marked, still doing a great job. I think I put my queen clip aside for whatever reason, but I always like caging them, really for safety purposes, so I don't roll them or damage them or kill them. So she's caged. Just gonna go through the rest of the frames real quick. If I see any queen cells, swarm cells, supersedral cells, probably end up tearing them down. Haven't found any yet, but just letting you know what the plan is. All right, yeah, they're looking good. Let's get her released. Everything put back together, and that's it for this one. All right, down here at 7, just moving along. Nice activity. Honey box, queen excluder, just like the previous one. Let's see what they've been up to. Okay, looks like somebody's been working. Look at all that nice wax, nice comb. Let's do the same thing. Let's pull the center frame. Just kind of give us a quick assessment. And then since this is a honey box, just like the previous hive, we'll get down into the bottom box. Oh yeah, wow, check that out. We'll get down into the bottom box and conduct a quick inspection. Yeah, look at these frames. Somebody's been busy. Great. This is excellent. Exactly what you want to see this time of year. And the nice thing is they have plenty of time left in the season. and the nectar flow to really capitalize. All right, something interesting to talk about with number 7 here. So no signs of a queen, no signs that they're queen right. And in fact, if you look at the 2 videos ago, I thought I caught our 11th swarm of the season. They perched themselves on the side of swarm trap number 2, which is right here in the bee yard. I had to go back to work. I couldn't actually get them. I also thought they might move into the trap, which they didn't. Came back around 5 o'clock that day and they were gone. So I don't know if that was swarm number 7, or I'm sorry, hive number 7 that swarmed. But this hive has a ton of swarm cells, queen cells. Let me see if I can grab a frame and show you. Yeah, so we got one here that looks like it may have hatched, one here, ton of drones, more so on this side. Yeah, I mean, look at all the queen cells. So I am going to give them another week. I'm going to get back into them next weekend, see if maybe they have a virgin queen running around that has made it since and started to lay some eggs. And if not much is really going to hurt by waiting a week. So next weekend, if they are still not queen right, I might give them a frame or 2 of eggs from another strong colony and then just see what happens. So that's number 7. Not really sure. Doesn't look like they have a queen. No real evidence of her, so kind of just TBD at this point. All right, down here at the hive in the 8th position, so just like the previous 2, single deep, queen excluder, honey box. So I'm very, very curious to see what kind of work they've done in the honey box since I don't know when, because I've caught a lot of swarms. This may have been a swarm, but I'm not too sure how long the box has been on, but that is exactly what you want to see. Look at all that beautiful wax. All right, let's do the same thing. Let's pull the center frame and see what kind of honey stores we got. Okay, yeah, they're working. Actually, the next frame, the frame before it. Check this out. That side, not too bad. That side, not too bad. And real quick, looks like they're working the right side of the box, right to left, a little more than center out. But yeah, another month or so, this should be nice and full and ready to harvest. That's awesome. So they're doing good. All right, very first frame, nice brood, some food, and I know it won't come up. These open cells right there have eggs in them. Same thing on this side. Queen is favoring this side of the box for sure. That is a very nice frame, and they will have a whole lot more bees in the next 2 weeks. So if a first frame looks like that, I have no doubt the rest of the box is going to look great. Check this out. Look at that beautiful capped brood. That is a sign that there is just a great source of pollen and nectar. If you got frames looking like that. Ooh, what in the world? All right, hold on. I'm glad I let the camera keep rolling. So they're building, well, that stinks. I'll show you that here in a second. So they're building some very weird comb off of the plastic foundation, and just by pulling that out, ripped a huge chunk off. So they were definitely queen right. I'm looking for her, but I'm not really too sure what to do with that. Oh, that's because it's completely off the, yeah, it's completely off of the plastic foundation. Let me put that back, but at the same time, let me smoke them real quick. This gives me an opportunity. This gives me an opportunity to check out some brood, uncapping brood. Hopefully this comes up on camera, but I don't see any varroa mite. Let's see, what can we do here? Yeah, some of this stuff here. You usually only get a chance to do this when you overwinter multiple boxes and you reverse them, and the colonies create usually drone brood in between the boxes, and then when you rip the boxes apart, it splits the comb apart like this, and you can kind of inspect some of the brood. But yeah, I don't see any varroa mites, which is a good thing. Well, that stinks. I didn't really want to do that, but they're building the comb off of the plastic foundation, so not really much you can do about that. Alright, here's the queen over in the corner. I'm just keeping an eye on her in case she crossed to the other side of the frame, but she is doing an excellent job based off all these frames of brood, eggs, larvae. I mean, it looks like she is trying to lay an egg in any available open cell. Beautiful looking queen too. So same process as usual. Try and cage her. She's really doing a good job staying inside that little crevice there, which I think is the same thing she did last time. But yeah, I'm just gonna get her caged, set aside, put everything back together, and then release her. All right, yeah, she's in there. She's a nice looking one too. All right, same as usual, let's get her released. Hopefully we can see that with the amount of bees on the clip here. All right, there she goes, down in there. Awesome. Easy day. Let's get everything put back together and on to the next one. All right, you guessed it, folks. Down here at the next hive. So I'm at the hive in the 9th position, same thing as the previous few. Single deep honey box. So let's get into them, see what kind of work they've been doing as far as a honey harvest. This one not so much, not as good as the previous. I do think I recall the backstory on this one. I mean, not as much in the form and sense of capped and cured honey, but they are working this top box. So beggars can't be choosers, but I think this is one of the more recent swarms, or actually the swarm from a very close neighbor's house, maybe around mid-April or so about a month ago. Huge swarm. I think this is them. Huge swarm, but yeah, not looking bad. All right, routine inspection, frame by frame, and of course I'll show you anything interesting I come across. Decent amount of bees down here, just from a quick first glance. All right, very 5th frame, right in the center of the colony. Obviously you can see a lot of nice capped honey surrounding this open cell area. And I know it won't come up on camera, but using the sun over my shoulder, there are eggs in those cells. So they have a queen, which I didn't really have any doubts of. I think, there she is. Oh, look at her, huge. Unmarked too, so I really don't remember the backstory on this one. Maybe this was the swarm from my neighbor's property. Yeah, huge queen. And if that's the case, maybe I just never found her initially, or when I transferred them over into this box, or whatever the case is. I guess it doesn't matter. All right, so I'm just gonna go through the rest of the frames. If they have any queen cells, I can tear them down since they're queen right, and I'm not trying to make a split or anything. But yeah, there we go. There's a nicer patch of larvae, if that happens to come up on camera or not. Okay, yeah. Let me get through the rest of them, and I'll get her marked. I think this is like the 5th or 6th queen I've marked this week, and that'll be it for this one. All right, here we go again. It's quite the party trick. There we go. Like a pro. I wonder if this is the hive from last time, which is about 2 weeks ago. I wonder if this is the hive that I found the queen, and as I was trying to cage her, she crawled out of the cage, and I just messed around too long, and she ended up flying off. I think this might be that colony, so if this is the same queen, it's nice that she came back. All right, here we go. There we go, looks good. Give her a minute or two like usual, let her dry off, and get everything put back together. All right, same as usual. Let's get her released. She is a nice looking queen. Nice size, nice color. Right, there she goes. All right, down here at the hive in the 10th position, which I actually happen to remember the backstory of this one. This was a split I made, I believe in early April, from the colony that is currently in the number 2 position now, since the first position is swarm number 10. Made a split because I found the parent queen, so I got her moved aside, and they've been down here for about a month, maybe close to a month or so, and I figured it's time to give them some more space. So that is exactly what I'm going to do today. I'm going to get them moved from this single 5-frame nuke box into a double 5-frame nuke box. Simply just going to move these 5 frames over into this box, and then the top box has 5 frames with new plastic foundation, so it gives them plenty of space to work and draw out some comb, and it also frees up a potential swarm relocation box for me. So again, routine inspection should be pretty quick since it's only 5 frames, but the main thing I'm doing with them is getting them moved over into a double stack 5-frame nuke setup. All right, over here on the 3rd frame, nice cap brood, some small larvae in between the cap brood cells, but the bees are definitely working on 1, 2 swarm cells on this side, none on this side. No sign of the queen just yet. 2 frames to go. So let's see what we got going on first. I don't see any signs of her or the actual queen. Part of me is thinking that may have been the swarm that landed on swarm trap number 2 the other day. All right, one more frame. Not really much going on this frame, but I found queens in all sorts of places before where you would think you would not find them. And again, this was a split that I made with the parent queen from one of the hives on the other side of the yard. So she was marked, which should make it pretty easy to find her. And I am not seeing her, so yeah, maybe they swarmed because they needed some space. All right, I'm just gonna go through this box one more time since there's only 5 frames. Maybe I'm overlooking her, but I just want to give it a little more effort, and then I'll fill y'all in. All right, no signs of the queen. I think they may have swarmed, so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna move the frames over, and like usual, I'm gonna mark on the top bar all the locations of swarm cells. And I took a closer look at these cells. They are charged, so they have a developing queen larva in them, so specifically on the very middle frame. And I don't think they need more room. They might actually benefit from more ventilation, being in a nuke box with a traditional bottom board instead of this 5 frame that doesn't have a bottom board, or it just has a hole in the front. Anyway, yeah, I'm starting to think they may have swarmed, which is fine. They look like they have a plan to rebound, and honestly, I'm not too worried about them. They'll make a good hive later this year, or maybe a colony I can split later on. But let's get the rest of these bees moved over in the traditional way of brute force. Okay, that's that. And I'll put the 5 frame nuke that they were in down on the ground in front of the new box, so the rest of the straggler bees, they'll move over in no time. So okay, what is that, number 10 I think I said? So it looks like they may have swarmed, no big deal. They have about four swarm cells in development, so it looks like they have a plan, and that's kind of fun for me to keep an eye on them over the next few weeks and see what comes of it. All right, almost done. Down here at hive number 11, so single deep, honey super, queen excluder. This was the hive I used in April. Transferred a few frames into an observation hive for the nice kiddos over at Milestones Preschool. So let's see, man, they may have been busy for the last few weeks. Let's see what this top box is looking like. Look at all that cross comb. That's looking good. So like usual, let's pull the center frame. See what kind of work they've been up to with packing away the honey for me. Yeah, not bad. They got some work to do, but plenty of time to do it. All right, I don't want to disturb them too much. So let's get this box off, set it aside, get down into the bottom box for the inspection. Very second frame. I mean, look at this brood pattern. Both sides. Pretty impressive. Let's take a look at the next frame real quick since I got the camera going. But no kidding, second frame, just slap full of brood. It's a nice brood and food frame. Decent amount of drone brood in the making. All right, try and find the queen, get her caged, finish up the inspection, and call it a day. All right, last frame, haven't found her yet. I was able to peek ahead. It looked like this frame was packed with brood. Not as much brood as I thought, and sure enough, there she is right there. So no need to cage her. Very last frame. Let's get everything put back together, and that's it for the hive down in the 11th position. All right, we finally made it down to the hive in the last position, which is number 12 right now. I honestly do not remember their backstory, but they are down here in a single 5-frame. I have another box ready for them. I was gonna say if they need more space, but this time of year, space is not necessarily a bad thing. So let's just take a quick look at these 5 frames. I don't remember if they have a marked queen or not. Unfortunately, nothing really comes to mind about this colony. But that is absolutely beautiful. All right, so like usual, let me determine a few things. Whether they are queen rights, which they are, I can tell already, but more so whether or not they have a marked queen, and kind of just go from there. All right, well, not really sure when the camera shut off, but I'm gonna give them an extra box. Let's get her released. But yeah, I'm really curious to see just how much progress they make in the next week or two with this extra space, given how strong they look. All right, that's it. Man, that took a while, but all the hives are looking good. All right, well, hey, it's 2:30. That does it for me. Quite a few hours in the bee yard. All the hives are looking good. One hive to keep an eye on, which is number 7. I'm just gonna give them another week to see if they are queen right or become queen right. And then I believe it was the single 5-frame. It looks like they swarmed at some point. They have a few queen cells in development with charged cells that actually have queen larvae, like I said during the inspection video. So something else to keep an eye on. A lot of honey coming in. The bees are actually doing a super job this year with creating a honey crop. But hey, check this out. So the previous video, swarm number 11, I think, when I shared with y'all that a swarm perched itself on the corner of swarm trap number 2 here. They left. That was, I think, Friday or Thursday. But yeah, check it out. That is a ton of bees on this box for that to not be a swarm. So like usual, I'll keep y'all posted. Maybe we have a swarm moving in, maybe a swarm has moved in, who knows. But it is hot, I am tired, but honestly, this is extremely fun to me, and it is amazing to see the yard be as full as it currently is, because it was looking bad coming out of winter. All right, hey, thanks for watching, everybody. Cole's Farm here in Jacksonville, North Carolina. Check us out on Instagram and our Facebook. I haven't said this in a while, but we're trying to get it back. All the links are in the banner on our YouTube channel. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. I try to respond to everybody. If you enjoy our videos, hit the thumbs up button. And if you want to show us some love, hit the subscribe button. All right, long day in the bee yard. I'm hot, I'm tired, I'm out of here. See y'all next time.